Hello, everyone. Welcome to the moon forecast for the new moon in Cancer happening on July 9th. I'm Kendall Shawhan with the Bohemian Tarot Girl, and this is my co-host, Amy. Amy, do you want to introduce yourself?
Hi, I'm Amy Amonette, and I'm an intuitive energy coach and moon circle leader for several years now. And we're going to dive into this moon. I'm so excited about it.
Yeah, and before we get started about that, let's talk about the new project that we're working on together that goes along with these moon videos. We have produced for July a workbook for you guys. It's going to be available for free. Normally, it'll be $5 a month, or you can just buy a year in advance and there's a slightly different discount on it. But for July, it's free. And we want you to try it out and do some healing practices with us. The whole object of doing the workbook is for you guys to use the moon and what we're talking about to actually help heal and grow yourself with the cycles of the moon. Amy, do you want to add anything to that?
Yeah, we've been doing this work for a long time, and I have seen such progress in people who have really kind of dived into these, moon videos or moon circles that we do in person. And it's a good time for self reflection, and it just helps align with the energy so that you can flow with it, kind of get some introspective thoughts going. The journal prompts and the tarot, readings and stuff, they're really beneficial to kind of asking some of the deeper questions that you may not really ask yourself on a day-to-day basis. So it opens up a lot of opportunity to kind of get to know yourself better, and then to kind of shift your energy into higher vibration.
Definitely. So we're super excited. There's going to be a link down below in the description. Please click on it, download it, try it out for free. It'll have the journal prompts for both the new moon and full moon, as well as a tarot spread for each and some other additional pieces. So we hope you enjoy it, and we hope you guys stay connected with us. Let's start and talk about this new moon.
Yeah.
No.
So Cancer new moon is happening July 9th. It'll be exact on 6:16 p.m. Pacific Standard Time, which is where we are. And new moons happen when the moon and the sun are at the same place in the sky. And so they're kind of like overlapping each other. Whereas full moons, they're opposite each other, which is why we see it all illuminated. And so this moon, they're going to be at 18 degrees of Cancer, both the sun and the moon in the same place. And so if you are someone who likes to look into your astrology chart and see kind of where that is affecting you, you can look at where 18 degrees of Cancer is in your personal chart. And that'll give you the house that, a lot of this activity may be happening in for you. So yeah, I started looking into this moon a few weeks ago when we were starting journal prompts. And it was really nice to have this energy come in. I think this is really important energy, because if you've been following us and following these videos for what has been happening for the last, year or so, we've really been fast tracked through a lot of intense energy. And it's like trying to move us from point A to point B and propelling us into stepping more fully into our own power, embracing, the changes that are happening globally and personally. And it's been pretty intense.
Yes.
Like,
100%.
I mean, yeah. Even for people who follow energy, there's been some really intense moments, but for those who are completely unaware of what's happening, like, it can really kind of hit people really hard. And this, like, I was thinking about it, is like some people have been hit a lot harder than others, in very different aspects of their life. We've dealt with a lot of loss, a lot of grief, a lot of isolation. And so it's almost like, we've been kind of put through this period of like baptism by fire. Is what I feel like it's been like. This is not the easy route. We've been on the fast track, the advanced course. So this moon is coming in, and I think it's really important, especially after the last new moon was an eclipse. We had that intense energy, and then we had another super moon last full moon, and that was kind of on the polarity of Cancer Capricorn, which was very much about the male and female aspects and finding balance. And I think this moon comes in and it's really asking us to embrace ourselves, nurture ourselves, love ourselves, check in with ourselves, and really kind of figure out who we are and what we want. And a lot of these moons, new moon is always for manifesting and calling in intentions, and full moons are for releasing. But I feel like so many of these moons that we've had recently have kind of had the element of a mix of both energies. And then I was also noticing, this is just a side note, last year when we would enter a sign like Cancer, we would always have the new moon first. So we would set our intentions, and then we would have the full moon and we would release. And this year we're having to do all the releasing in that sign first and then setting the intentions following, which gives it a little different energy.
Yes. That is that's very interesting. I didn't pay attention to that.
Because usually you can kind of say, okay, well, this is what I want, and now this is what I have to let go of. And now it's like you need to let go of things before you can even call in what you're meant to have. And it's more like a discovery of what it is that you feel. I think a lot of the moons have been about empowerment and your worthiness and your letting go of your fears and manifesting what you would without a lot of the conditioning that you've had prior. So these are some big steps happening for a lot of people. And I think we're going to see in the next 6 months, or by the time this eclipse ends, that a lot of people have really transformed themselves in their lives in a really positive way. So
100%. Yeah. I can't wait to see what happens as we come into that end of November, beginning of December, and seeing what transition really happens. The next full moon we have a quick portal that's happening from Aquarius full moon to another Aquarius full moon, which should be interesting in itself. But it's interesting that we're picking up this like real calming, kind of like looking into yourself and clearing away some of those maybe like past life, past experiences that you've been holding on to, especially related to more of your emotional side. So
so Cancer is a water sign, which just have to do with emotions. They're the feelers. And Cancer energy is, we talked about it last month or last video, being it's kind of like the ultimate mother energy. It's very nurturing, it's very caring, it's very intuitive and healing. And this moon is bringing in a lot of that, and it's kind of highlighting, I want to say, even though the moon's going to be dark, I feel like this moon is really highlighting where you may need to change some things regarding how you embrace those aspects of yourself. We hear things like being a caretaker and being nurturing and being spiritual and intuitive and being emotional, and that sounds like good things overall, and it is when it's done in a healthy way, but a lot of times with Cancer energy, there's this sense of in order to receive from others and in order to have someone care about me, I have to overextend myself. to the point a lot of times where, because Cancer is immutable energy, it's very free flowing and can transmute itself. Um, and it can be to the point where you're wanting to bring a feeling into your life. And so you're giving this away to everybody, but you're not keeping it for yourself as well. You're not extending the same kind of love and gratitude and care to yourself that you're providing to others. Um, and I think this moon is calling in the feeling that we need to, more than anything, honor ourself first, which can be hard if you are a caregiver.
Yeah.
It can be hard if you are very perceptive to energy and you tend to take on other people's energy and you try to fill them before you fill yourself first. You can't pour from an empty cup.
Yeah.
And so this energy is really kind of pinpointing how you can better nurture and honor yourself.
Yes.
Um,
No, it was
so
very, when I did my card pulls for this, when I was looking at the journal prompts originally, it came up a lot that communication was key and making sure that you're receiving what you need and it's not just all about that giving portion. So that completely makes sense to me.
mhm,
Is, you really need to be clear with the people in your lives on what your needs are and what your wants are. Don't sit there and give away, certain things in hopes that it'll return. You need to be really clear with what you want and need and really understand why you're giving away that energy. So,
yeah, energy is meant to flow freely in both directions. And if you're only outpouring
yeah.
everything of yourself into somebody else, you cannot expect someone else to fill you with what you need. And so that's important that you're honoring that part of yourself, and taking the time and making sure that you're doing that for yourself, but also that you aren't attaching yourself to people who um, are using you as the vessel to fill themselves with,
Mhm.
which happens a lot. There's a lot of codependent tendencies with
Oh,
Cancer
yeah.
energy. Yeah, because they value feeling, like needed and wanted, and that they're helping. They are helpers, um, but it has to be done in a healthy way.
Yes.
And I wrote down a couple notes, but it's our the journal prompts for this month when I was writing them out was all about kind of like, what does home mean to you? Because when I think of Cancer, Cancer's the crab, and they kind of carry around their shell with them. That's
Yeah,
their
they carry
home.
their home around. Mhm.
Yeah, it's like they always kind of have that to protect them, and that is their sanctuary, and that's their home. And it doesn't necessarily have to be a physical thing. Home is kind of, we all have our idea of what home feels like to us. And home is more of a feeling, I think, for most people than it is a physical location. And so take a look at this new moon when you're working with the energies of it. Look at kind of what feels like home to you.
Mm.
How do you feel at home in yourself? How can you come back more to yourself and your true self and honor that part of you? Um, and making sure that you aren't and haven't been abandoning parts of yourself, trying to be something that you're not, or
Mhm.
trying to be something to someone else that they expect you to be. And I think when you sit down to set intentions, which I hope that you do with this moon, is that you look at yourself and what feels like home and how you can be more at home, and that you're setting intentions to create more of that space and that feeling in your life. So you're tapping into your authentic being. And there's something really magical that happens when you do that. Um, and you start honoring yourself. Like I really struggled with being a people pleaser. I still do sometimes. It's never something that I think you fully especially, when you work in, my main work, I am a medical massage therapist, and I am helping people day in and day out who are in pain. And I love being able to do that for them. I love being able to figure out things that maybe and be a source of comfort or relief, or just the bright spot of their day. But I also really struggled with being able to go home and take care of myself in the same way that I was taking care of others.
Yep.
And it's an ongoing practice. This isn't something that comes very easily to a lot of people, especially women. We
Mhm.
are generally the caretakers for everything. Um, and so I really hope that you set your intentions for this. And when you do, when you start incorporating all these aspects of yourself that maybe you've let slide or you've abandoned, or these boundaries that you have not held, and that you've allowed certain things into your life that don't belong to you, that you're not responsible for, um, you integrate and incorporate your physical and your mental and your spiritual, and it like creates this vibration of this whole being that helps align you so much better with what's meant for you. um, because I really feel like, we all kind of came on this earth for a purpose. We all have a reason for being here. We chose this path for whatever reason. I don't think, and I've said this before in many of my moon circles and stuff. Um, I really believe that we know what we're getting ourselves into when we come here. And yeah, it's hard. And there are things about life that will like drop you to your knees. But there's a reason why. And there's a reason why we chose these challenges for ourselves at this time. There's a reason why you chose this body. I know so many people who are kind of at odds with their physical form, and maybe it is something that's new to you. I mean, not everyone has incarnated several times. I mean, you may be an old soul, you may be a new soul, you may have never been on this planet before. Doesn't mean that you haven't. And that, this term has been coming up a lot lately, but, perhaps you are a star seed. And what that means is that your soul, your spiritual essence has um, incarnated on other planet
Yep.
systems, in other types of bodies, with other, you know, physical aspects to and laws. I mean, maybe they don't have gravity, or maybe it's water based, or I mean, there's just, I'm getting totally off track. But what I'm saying is, what home what feels like home to you, like there may be a reason why you have never felt like you belonged here.
Yep.
But you do belong. And if you feel completely out of touch with what's happening around you and it feels overwhelming, um, try and honor those parts of you that may have a higher knowing and a higher way of being, that is not so stuck in this really heavy earth energy, because we are spiritual beings,
We
not
are very.
necessarily like, we're human and we're having a human experience for sure. And my hope is that everyone finds a way to embrace their humanness and their human experience and learn to love themselves that way, because it is a part of who you are overall.
Mhm.
um so Cancer, like coming home to yourself and embracing all of you, like, and sitting down and write, and we'll have the journal prompts, they'll be inside of the booklet.
Mhm.
um and We'll give you an opportunity to really kind of look into those parts of yourself.
Yeah, I 100% love what you said there, because if you think about your connection to your soul and being able to heal yourself and grow, it all starts with you being confident and connected to yourself. You can't heal other aspects of you without having that first like inner connection to yourself. And so this moon, it feels like it's a real call to like honor that part of yourself and to really feel that out, and make sure that you have that solid grounding in that part of you, in order for you to continue to move forward and progress, whether or not that's in your career or other aspects in your life that you're trying to create. You really need that, that inner stability. So
Yeah. And when you can learn to embrace all of who you are and love all of your parts and value um, what you bring to the table and your core essence, um, it gives you almost permission, I want to say, to fully step in and show everybody. And that translates into, what you believe you can ask for in this life. Do you believe you can have a job? Do you believe you can have a great partner? Do you believe, and when you start believing that you're deserving of these things, that's when you start attracting what's meant for you to come in, instead of attracting more and more things to show you what's not meant for you, which happens to a lot of people. I think we've all been in those places where, like, gosh, what else can happen that, why am I stuck in this kind of relationship again? It's, these are, and that starts with honoring who you are
yes.
and recognizing what you deserve.
Hmm.
Um, and, you know, coming home,
Yeah.
come home to you.
Was there
You're
any
like your best
other
home.
was there any other like pieces that are coming up around the new moon that we should be
There
aware of?
are several things that are aspecting this moon, either right before or right after. And they all kind of play along with the story that's happening. So, right before this moon, like a few days before, we have Chiron, which is the wounded healer. It's an asteroid. It's coming in and it's going to be squaring this moon. And Chiron has a way of showing you where your wounds are, and it can sometimes trigger old things to come up. Um, it can make you feel like maybe you're back stuck in old patterning, because it's like, why is this happening again? And what, but the purpose, I think, of why this is happening at this time right before this moon is to show you, yes, this was how things were, but you've moved past it now and you're able to react in a different way. You're able to move forward. You don't need to keep holding on to that wounding. Um, and it's giving you an opportunity to step in and take care of things yourself and on your own 2 feet. Um, I think that sometimes with Cancer energy and wanting to be nurtured and stuff, it's almost like we give up our power sometimes,
For sure.
because we want to be mothered and we want to be taken care of. And yes, they are the mother, but they do want to be mothered themselves. But this is giving you the chance to say, you know what, you've done that. Like, it's time to move forward, and you are strong and you are capable and you have a different mindset. And now you can react differently to this and you can push forward on your own without having to rely on someone else to take care of that for you, because you're a complete whole person now. So that's coming up. Chiron's always tricky. I mean, if you've ever looked at where Chiron is in your chart when you were born, that can give you huge insights into some of the patterning that happens and what your triggers and your own personal wounding that happens. And then the other thing was, a week after this moon, Pluto in Capricorn is going to be exactly opposite both the sun and the moon. And that happens about once a year. So Pluto kind of comes up and it's wanting to show you kind of where you're where you're stuck, but it's more like it's going to come up and kind of shake things up for you. It's not really going to give you, especially because it's in Capricorn, it's going to like highlight what needs to be changed.
Yeah, because
Um,
Capricorn is very goal oriented. So, in that aspect, if you haven't done that kind of like this last bit of healing and coming to yourself, and then it's going to come shake you up. Um,
Mhm.
especially in like relations to like the Capricorn energy, and we're thinking about like goals and material possessions, that sort of thing.
Yeah. And it's, like we were talking about last time, the male and the female, and Cancer being feminine and Capricorn being masculine. And here we are with both the sun and the moon in Cancer
Mhm.
and Pluto in Capricorn. And now they're opposing each other into like very significant, like a very strong polarity.
Yeah,
Um, and so you can expect like sudden shakeups potentially, or insights, or like just maybe, and hopefully not, but feeling kind of like something is being shifted in a dramatic way for you. But it's all to kind of realign you with what you're meant for.
yep,
So sometimes we have to let things change the way they need to change in order to have the opportunity to step into what's new and better.
for sure. And then we have that portal energy that's going to come up with the full moon. So that's
Mhm.
interesting that we're kind of going through this little like fixing stage here, and then some things get shaken up, and then you're going to go through like a portal. Very interesting.
It
I don't,
is.
yeah.
There's always such synchronicity with how these
And
planets align, and the story that they're trying to like, and the steps they're trying to take us through to progress.
mhm.
um when I started following astrology, it changed like my way of kind of viewing circumstances and how I reacted and how they affected me way differently.
Yeah. It gives me a purpose too. I feel like, we've talked about this before, and you've said like you're kind of a lazy spiritual person.
Yes.
I totally agree that I am too. And I think following the moon and following this, like the astrology piece gives me this constant like path that I need to do to constantly grow and to reevaluate evaluate things, consider things. Um, and so using it as kind of a guide to continuously grow is 100% what it's meant for.
Oh, absolutely.
It's life changing to be able to have that for you. And it's this constant, workbook to how you can grow in life. So
Hmm.
I pulled a card. It's the Four of Cups. And the interesting thing is that it ties back to like reevaluating and looking at old situations. And with that, it comes with looking into yourself. There's key ties to like doing some meditation, inner work, and communicating with yourself. So make sure that you are really you're looking at old situations. If you feel a pull that comes up, to reevaluate something that happened, really turn inside and look at how that made you feel, and what your needs were that weren't being met. So that's what I
Very
got.
true. Yeah.
All right. Well, thank you, everyone. Remember to get that free workbook that we have going on for July for the full moon and new moon. The link is in the bio. You can follow me at Bohemian Tarot Girl on Instagram or Facebook. Amy, you want to give a shout out for yourself?
I'm at Wise Moon Energy on Facebook. We also have another group, Wise Moon Magic Circle. So you can find us there.
Awesome. Thank you, everyone. And I hope you have a great new moon. Bye.